So, good morning. Today we are with strain energy and then we have combined strategies. So, today we will go with two topics, strain energy and combined loading. Now, strain energy, that is actually energy developed in the member due to deformation. Now, we have three types of members. We have axial members, then we have flexural members, and then we have torsional members. Then how we will find strain energy stored in different types of members? So we have these formulas. If we will see strain energy in axial members, then we have 0 to L P square upon 2 AE. If we will go strain energy in flexural member, that is bending due to bending, we have integration 0 to L M square 2 EI. And strain energy in torsional members, we have U is equal to 0 to L T square upon 2 GJ. You can see AE is axial rigidity, EI flexural rigidity, and GJ torsional rigidity. Now if we will switch over to the next, so just I told you within the limit of proportionality, the relation between resistance setup and deformation is always linear, and that will gives you strain energy stored. So you can see this. So we have R and delta. So we know within elastic limit stress is directly proportional to strain, and therefore we have instead of stress we are going to consider it as resistance. So when I will go with elastoplastic material, so we are not going to get this linear, and for plastic we do not have any resistance. So we have these strain energy that is only in only in the members which are within elastic limit. So now you can see what is strain energy. So area under this curve. Notice area under this curve. So this is R delta curve. So 1 half R into delta L. Now once we know this equation, then we can simplify by substituting different values. Then we know R that is equal to P in case of elastic material, and here we are considering elastic material only, and then only we are in position to find out stress by using this strain energy. So we have 1 half sigma A into delta L, and this delta L also we can put it as PL upon AE, but P by A is sigma, so it is sigma L upon E, and that will gives us U is equal to sigma square AL upon 2E. So this is my equation of strain energy. U is equal to sigma square upon 2E into volume, because A into L is volume, and therefore we have this strain energy sigma square upon 2E into volume. So now this is energy stored in the body, and now this energy is stored by the three types of loads. We have gradually applied load, we have suddenly applied load, and we have impact load. So now we have to make the relations for this. So now we have here another form of the equation. We know delta L, we have that is deformation, and now this equation we will multiply by L and divide by L. So what will happen due to this? Delta L upon L becomes epsilon, and then my equation becomes 1 half sigma into epsilon into AL, that is 1 half stress into strain into volume. So we have this as second form of the equation. So you can see here we have two forms. First sigma square upon 2E into volume, and second 1 half stress into strain into volume. So now terms used in strain energy. Proof resilience. Maximum strain energy stored at elastic limit. This is known as proof resilience. Maximum energy, strain energy means when my stress is at yield stress. And when I will find strain energy sigma y square upon 2E into volume, that strain energy is proof resilience. Then we have, so you can see this F suffix y, F signifies yield stress. Now next we have modulus of resilience. Modulus of resilience is maximum strain energy stored per unit volume. So we have proof resilience per unit volume. So when you will divide by volume, then you will get this modulus of resilience sigma suffix y square upon 2e or f suffix y square upon 2e. So these two terms are most important, keep in mind. So first term, which is modulus of resilience, proof resilience, and second is modulus of resilience. Now, I already mentioned we have three types of loads: gradually applied, suddenly applied, and impact. And now we have to compare these loads with your resistance developed. Now we will first consider gradually applied load. So when we have gradually applied load, so we have P delta L, my curve. Now curve for resistance is always linear, which we have already seen. Now load is increased from 0 to P gradually, and work done is area under curve, and work done is nothing but strain energy. So we have 1 half P into delta L, and then we have strain energy equal to work done, and that is 1 half sigma A into delta L, that we have already seen, and that is equal to 1 half P into delta L, which is due to gradually applied load. And from this we are going to get stress equal to P by A, which is for gradually applied load. So we have, this is first formula, sigma equal to P by A, and this we are for gradually applied load. Now we will switch over to the next, which is suddenly applied load. Now what will happen in suddenly applied load? Your force versus deformation, this diagram plays very important role. Now when we will say suddenly applied load, we are going to apply load directly. Means if we are going to sit on the bench, then we have suddenly applied our load on the bench. So suddenly applied means whole load we are going to apply at a time. Now what will be your load versus delta? So we have this as rectangle. Now you can see this load P suddenly applied. Now work done. Work done is always area under P delta L curve. And here I will get this as P into delta L. Now we know strain energy, that is equal to work done. Now strain energy, our equation is the same, because your resistance is always developed linearly, gradually, and therefore your that equation is not going to change. That will be 1 half sigma A into delta L, but now work done due to suddenly applied will be P into delta L. And now if you simplify this, then you will get sigma equal to 2P upon A. This is sigma sudden, and sigma gradual is P by A. So we have sigma sudden equal to 2 times sigma gradual. Now we will go to the next, that is last load, which is impact load. Now you can see here we are going to release weight from some height. You can see in the diagram, that is from height H. So we have, this is from height H, and which will develops deformation delta L. Then what will be my work done due to weight W? So that is W multiplied by its displacement. Now you can see in the figure your displacement is H plus delta L. So on deformation curve we are mentioned it as H plus delta L and W be the weight. And now we are in the same way, same steps. Load W falls from height H, then work done equal to area under curve, and that will be now W into H plus delta L. Now we are going to equate again strain energy with respect to work done. Now strain energy again we have same 1 half sigma A into delta L, but now we have work done is WH plus delta L. Now we are going to solve this. So to solve this, we are going to substitute delta L in terms of sigma. So if we will put on both sides delta L in terms of sigma, then you will get this left side 1 half sigma A into sigma L by E, and here W in bracket H plus sigma L upon E. Now when we will simplify this, we will get a equation which is quadratic equation, and that quadratic equation we have for sigma. So if I solve this quadratic equation for sigma, then I will get value of sigma. So now you can see this. So we have sigma square AL. Now I have simplified it, and that will gives you a quadratic equation for sigma. And now you solve this. So we cannot solve directly. We have to go for basic, that is sigma equal to minus b plus minus root of b square minus 4ac upon 2a. Now a we know we have al upon 2e, b is minus wl upon e, and c is minus wh. And if I will put these values in equation sigma, then I will get this sigma is equal to w by a plus minus 2whe upon al plus w by a whole square, that is in root. Now w by a we have to take outside, which is common in first term and first term in root. So what we have made? We have made w by a multiply and a by w multiply, so that will not change your equation. So first term you can see in root, so we have 2whe upon al, we have multiplied it by wa and again multiply by a by w. Now we have taken w by a common from this. So now what will happen? So when you have taken w by a common from this, then you can see last equation I have 1 plus minus 1 plus 2h upon delta L. Now where from we get this delta L? So now you can see in denominator I have WL and in numerator I have AE. The numerator term AE, if I will take denominator of WL, then we have that is WL upon AE, which is delta L, because PL upon AE we have delta L. In the same way we have this equation W by A 1 plus minus root of 1 plus 2H upon delta L. So we have these three equations. First we have sigma gradual P by A. Second we have sigma sudden 2p by a or 2 times sigma gradual, and third we have w by a 1 plus minus root of 1 plus 2h upon delta L. And by using these equations we have to solve the problems. Now we can go first strain energy due to self weight. So now we are going to consider, if you remember, we have this problem that is in axially loaded members. There actually we have covered this. So just this may come under your strain energy, and you can see this axial force on elementary strip equal to F equal to W. Volume we have volume below the strip X strip into weight density. Now volume below strip we have A into Y, and weight density is rho into G. Rho is mass density and we have multiplied it by G. Now normal stress we know sigma equal to F by A. Now F we know AY rho G, and divide by A gives me rho YG. This is little bit different from that one, PL upon AE. So now strain energy is sigma square upon 2E into volume, and then we will get it as Y into rho G upon 2E whole square upon 2E, because sigma in last equation we have seen is Y rho G, and that you have substituted over here, Y rho G whole square upon 2E into A dy. Now strain energy U equal to root of y rho G square, that is square, upon 2E A into dy, and from this I will get that as rho square G square AL cube upon 6E. Actually that is not root, that is integration from 0 to L, and from this we are going to get this value as rho square, because we have square and that is in the integration. So if you will go in integration 0 to L, then you have y square into dy, that becomes y cube upon 3, and y we have 0 to L, so that becomes L cube by 3, and 2 we are already over here, and then I will get that value as rho square G square AL cube upon 6E. So we have, this will be strain energy stored in the member due to self weight. Now we will go problems of this. So we have first, a bar 50 mm diameter, 2 meter long, has to transmit shock energy of 100 joules. Calculate maximum instantaneous stress developed and maximum elongation if E equal to 200 GPa. Now this is given data. So U means that is shock energy, that means U, which is 100 Newton meter. And now if we will use this, then we are interested to find out sigma max value. Now maximum instantaneous stress we have to find out. So we have formula, strain energy equal to sigma square into volume upon 2E, and by substituting corresponding values we are going to get value of sigma max. Strain energy is given 100 into 10 raised to 3. Sigma max we have to find, and volume that is given pi by 4 into 50 square we have area, and L is 2 meter, and if we will substitute this I will get value of sigma max 100.9 MPa. Now what is delta L? So we know delta L is sigma L upon E, and sigma is 100.9, L is 2000 upon E 200 into 10 raised to 3 gives value as 1 millimeters. So we have, this will be maximum elongation, and that is due to the shock energy which is 100 joules. Now second, so we have water under pressure of 100 MPa is suddenly admitted onto a plunger of 100 mm diameter attached to a rod 28 millimeter diameter 3 meter long. Find the maximum instantaneous stress and deformation. Now try to understand. We have water under pressure of 100 MPa is suddenly admitted onto a plunger of 100 millimeter diameter. So your water is on a plunger that is of 100 mm diameter, and that 100 mm diameter plunger is attached to a rod which is 3 meter long, and we are interested to find out the instantaneous stress and deformation of the rod. Now water pressure that is given 10 MPa, then we know that is stress due to suddenly applied, because that is clearly given suddenly admitted onto a plunger. So as it is suddenly admitted into a plunger, therefore my value of sigma is 2p upon A. Now we know stress 10 MPa we know area from which we are in position to find out value of P. Now value of P we are going to get, that is, so this is cross sectional area, then we have force on rod P, and that force on rod P we have water pressure into cross sectional area. Water pressure is 10 and cross sectional area we have pi by 4 into 100 square, which is 100 millimeter diameter is of plunger, and that will gives us force on the rod. So we have force on the rod, this value, and then we can find maximum instantaneous stress for rod now, which is 2p by a, because now p we know 78539.8, and area now we have to take of rod, which will be pi by 4 into d square. And now knowing value of sigma max, we can find deformation also, and deformation we know again sigma max L upon E. So maximum stress we are going to get on the rod, and that is 255.1 MPa, and maximum elongation we are going to get, that is 3.64 millimeters. So we are in this fashion. So load applied you have to see, and then you have to solve the problem. Now we will go to the next, which is for suddenly applied. So now we can have combination. We have taken all three, that is gradually applied, suddenly applied, and free fall. Now see, a vertical steel bar 1.5 meter long is fixed at top. A weight can slide freely. So we can have this given data. So maximum stress for gradually applied load and maximum stress with the same weight falling through height of 50 millimeter, that is required. Now knowing that instantaneous stress is given, sigma max equal to 200 MPa. Now when we have to find gradually applied load, that means we have to find W by A. W is weight, which is force upon area. Now we have equation, that equation we know, we have sigma equal to W by A, 1 plus minus under root of 1 plus 2H E 2H, we can see 2H EW upon AL plus W square upon A square. Now we are not going to use of delta L because we are interested to find W by A. Now we do not know value of W, we do not know value of A. So but we are interested to find W by A, so we will directly put W by A equal to X. And by substituting this value of W by A X, we are going to get equation in this fashion: 200 plus 200 equal to 200, that is stress is given due to impact when your weight falls from height 40 millimeters. And now if you will replace W by A equal to X, then your equation is in this fashion: 200 equal to X plus minus 10.67 into 10 raised to 3x plus x square. Now this x which is on right side we will take on left side, which will give me 200 minus x. Then you can have 200 minus x whole square equal to 10.67 into 10 to the power 3 into x plus x square. So we will get this equation. Now in this we are x square cancel and my equation will be linear. We do not have quadratic equation over here, and I will get from this equation value of x, and that value of x we are going to get equal to 3.62 MPa, which is W by A. So as this is W by A, so we have gradual, sigma gradual is 3.62 MPa. Then sigma sudden I can find directly because I know 2 sigma g, that will be equal to sigma sudden. So you can see we have sigma max 3.62 for gradually applied, and now we will go suddenly applied. So we have to multiply it by 2, gives me 7.24 MPa. Now next we have to find out sigma max due to impact, and that weight falls from 50 millimeter now. So now we know W by A, we know H, we know E, we know L, A, and substituting these values in the equation of sigma max, I will get value of sigma max which will be due to impact load, and that is dropped from 50 millimeter, and we have this value sigma max 223.35 MPa, and that will gives us problem that is related with your strain energy. So we have these three types of problems: one gradually applied, second suddenly applied, and third impact. So now this is actually